the games people play now, every night and every day now, never meaning what they say now, never saying what they mean, and they while away the hours in their ivory towers, till they're covered up with flowers in the back of a black limousine. La da 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 dee, la da 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 dee, talking about you and me and the games people play now. Oh, we make one another cry, break our heart and then we say goodbye, cross your heart and then we hope to die, that the other one's to blame, and neither one will ever give in. So we gaze at an 8 by 10, thinking about the things that might have been, and it's a dirty, rotten shame now. La da 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 dee, la da 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 dee, talking about you and me and the games people play now. People walking up to you, singing glory, hallelujah, and they want to sock it to you in the name of the Lord now. They gonna teach you how to meditate, read your horoscope and cheat your fate, and to furthermore to hell with hate. Come on and get on board now. Now look around, tell me what you see. What's happening to you and me? God grant me the serenity to remember who I am now. 'Cause you're giving up your sanity for your pride and your vanity. Turn your back on humanity, and you don't give a na 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 la 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 dee. Talking about you and me and the games people play now. La la da 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 dee. Talking about you and me and the games people play.
Thank you, Millie Edwards. Good morning, everybody. And welcome to Unity Temple in the Plaza, a place where diversity is praised and peace and harmony of rewards. I have a few brief announcements before we begin. The 12 Powers class is going to meet today at noon in classrooms D. That's straight across the hall next to the restrooms. And that's on the 12 powers of people, I guess. It used to be 12 powers of man, now it's 12 powers of people. Also, next Sunday is Mother's Day. And traditionally, we have done Mother's Day screen shows. So everybody gets to send in a picture of their mom, and their mom gets to be on screen, whether she's with us in this world or whether she's gone on. But just a nice time to pay tribute to the people that brought us into this world. And every one of us must remember, if it weren't for our mothers, we wouldn't exist. We wouldn't be here. So hopefully I'll see you next Sunday. And now I'd like to have Aaron Keller come forward with a special announcement.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This coming May 25th, which is a Saturday at 7 p.m., downstairs in Unity Hall is the first Golden Spirit Children's Choir's fundraising event. And it's going to be amazing. And you should all come. You should all get tickets and come to this event. I will be performing the Joni Mitchell album Mingus, and which is a very rarefied occurrence and a beautiful one at that. And I have a stellar band, top musicians from town, and that will be miraculous. There's curated foods, desserts, crafted cocktails, and wine provided by Sarah Anderson, who's a local singer and caterer here in town. And there will be a silent auction featuring artworks by top local artists David Ford, Peregrine Honig, Ryan Wilkes, Brent O'Connor, who's from our own congregation, and much, much more. Massage package, a river rafting trip, Casey Historic Tours, voice or piano lessons with me, or a performance in your home. Lots of cool stuff on the silent auction. And it's just going to be a really special, spectacular night to celebrate Golden Spirit and what our future has in store for us as we strive to make sure that every child has the chance to sing and be heard. Golden Spirit Children's Choirs uses social, emotional, music, and poetry learning objectives to ensure the success of every child. And we are here brand new in Kansas City, and we want your support. So come to our event on May 25th here at Unity Temple on the Plaza and Unity Hall downstairs at 7 p.m. and have a beautiful, wonderful, transcendent evening in support of something very worthwhile. Thank you very much. Oh, and if you want more information, there's these cards in the kiosk that has all the cards out in the hallway. And so if you pick one up, it has a QR code, and that QR code takes you directly to buy a ticket. And so, Millie, this one's for you.
Thank you, Aaron. Every Sunday at 9 o'clock, we have a discussion group. It's called Spiritually Speaking, and we cover all sorts of different things. Something comes up that has to do with life, and we just talk through it from a human aspect and from a spiritual aspect and come up with a lot of insights. Well, today we focused on humor, and everybody started telling jokes. Some were funny, some weren't funny at all. But I was challenged after the class. Somebody came up to me and says, I want you to take one of the jokes that was told here at Spiritually Speaking and tell it to the audience and see if you can get them to groan because it's that bad. So here goes. What goes, ha 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 ha, thump? A man laughing his head off. Okay, we won't do that again. So we'll now begin the service with the temple chimes, the opening prayer, and Aaron Keller with the call to inspiration. If you could read the peace prayer with me, please do so. Together. On this day, we dedicate ourselves to peace on earth. We accept ourselves without harsh judgment and express appreciation for our individuality. We live without fear to meet the events of this day with confidence. We accept others without prejudice to experience a sense of unity with all people. We honor our earthly environment and recognize a oneness with all creation, in harmony with ourselves, our lives, other people, and all of nature. We live this day with a peaceful mind, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful spirit. Thank you, God. Amen.
Sing the glorious words of truth over again to me. Let the light of eternal youth breathe in their ecstasy. ecstasy, words of health and beauty, making joy of duty, glorious words, beautiful words, wonderful words of truth.
Please stand and sing with me. My life begins for me today.
The road is long, from which there is no return, that leads us to knows where, who knows where. But I'm strong, strong enough to carry him. He ain't heavy, he's my brother. So on we go. His welfare is my concern. No burden is he to bear. We'll get there. For I know he would not encumber me. He ain't heavy, he's my brother. So on with formulating head on, I isn't filled with the gladness of love for one another. It's a long, long road from which there is no return while we're on our way to their wind-out share. And the Lord doesn't weigh me down at all. He ain't heavy. He's my brother. He ain't heavy. He's He's my brother.
Wow. Wow. Millie, thank you. And Robert, amazing. And Aaron, thank you for everything. How's everybody doing this morning? Good. So I had this beautiful conversation before service with Connie, and she was just sharing some beautiful insights and inspiration for me for today's talk. So I'm gonna deliver big time for you guys. You guys okay with that? Now, the name of my talk was Healing from the Spirit. Healing, the definition from the dictionary is getting well or mending. And throughout today, I'm going to have an affirmation, because we all hear about affirmations and how important they are for your well-being in all different areas. So today, it's I am whole. So when I say I am, you will say whole. I am whole. Okay. But I'm not going to say the first part each time. I'm going to ask you guys, how are you today? And you will say, ooh, good. With conviction and passion, because the amount of energy you put behind your words will determine your outcome. Because Duke, if you're ever wondering, has a beautiful video out on YouTube. It's in the Unity Temple's history. He's standing before a mirror. It's him saying affirmations to himself. In case you're wondering, like, what is the appropriate way to give affirmations? A beautiful, beautiful video. I don't even know if you remember that one, Duke, but it's great. The Metaphysical Bible Dictionary has the definition to bring forth the perfect Christ in man. So the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary is a book that was put out by Unity. It gives metaphysical interpretations of a lot of different parts of Scripture or words in Scripture, and I highly encourage you each to look in that. If you ever have a question on, like, what's another way to look at this, great resource that you can turn to. And I'm glad Duke told the joke this morning, because I don't have that. What I have for you is a story related to the song this morning. And so it's this little girl, it's in the middle of a rainstorm, and she's next to this boy who has trouble getting around. And so the stranger walks up to her and is witnessing what's going on with her and this boy. And then she's attempting to carry him. And so this stranger's like, little girl, he's way too heavy for you to carry. And the girl says, he's not too heavy, he's my brother. So remember that on when you're sticking with people and helping them through a situation, because maybe they can't see the truth of their situation. So as we're moving into wholeness, I want to ask you guys a question. How did you get here? And sit with that. How did you get here? Not what vehicle did you drive, not the mode of transportation, although those are all very important parts of your journey here, but the question being, how did you get here? There's an assumption that I want to sit with, and that is that this moment's perfect. In every way, shape, and form. This moment is perfect. Maybe quickly in your mind, something from outside of your current situation will slip in because it's a practice. And this practice is presence. How are you all doing today? How are you? By the time we get done with that today, you each are going to have this zest about you, and you'll walk out into the world, just take on everything that goes on because you're going to remember that. So as we explore the wholeness, it's not separation from anything. So when you look at your journey, and as I said, how did you get here? If you can, for a moment, and you have to entertain things while we're here. Once we go back outside, you can go thinking back however you want to, but for right now, I just want you to stick with me for a moment. And I want you to really focus in on this moment. There's a lot of different practices of presence, some meditation, some prayer, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's many, many different modalities of getting present. But for in this moment, here's the exercise that I want you to do. I want you to feel either one of your arms and just wiggle your fingers. Then feel the blood flowing through your thumbs, just sitting with that. And that's one practice of becoming present. Now I want you to combine that, and I want you to feel the blood circulating in your legs. You just sit in that space, because that's the space I want to talk to you from today. Not the spaces that quickly can sometimes be filled in by judgments of outside circumstances. Someone did something to me. It's keeping me from being here right now, what happened out there, for this moment. Pure presence. And on the stage, we've got some hidden teachers I want to tell you about. We've got Jesus, we got Buddha, we got Muhammad. We've got a lot of different teachers hidden here in the audience, okay? Each one of them practiced pure presence in the moment. Now, imagine each one of them in their different places in history, and now they're experiencing pure presence, but they're in a society of people who are not fully present. Here's an interesting thing. So each one of these teachers is aware of something that each one of us are, but based off their current situations of where they're at, they're going to do the best they can to describe things. Now, we might understand because they have, quote-unquote, different gods, but is that the case, or were they trying to make sense out of things the best they could based off their language and their understanding? So when we look at them all on that equal stage of each one of these were aware, and Jesus would just happen to be one of the more recent ones who was reached a new level of consciousness. I mean, that guy was a stud if we think about it, because what was he doing? He was demonstrating healing by helping people realize their own wholeness in that moment. Each time he does a healing, and you can go into the scripture and you can read about this, you can say, how did he heal people? Was it through his touch? Was it through his touch? What did he say every time? What's that? Your faith makes you whole. So here we've got an individual sitting on the stage just smiling out at you. And this is Jesus saying, I'm going to sit here and observe. How are you all doing with the message that was left at the time? And it's not the only message. It's important to look at that as a very unique and special message, but no matter what your study is, each one of those is okay. Unity has some amazing, amazing teachers whenever it comes to healing yourself. This is a book by Ruth Ann Shinnick. Shinnick? Is that correct? Does anyone know that name? Audience involvement on this one. So this particular book is called Heal Thyself. This is a Unity publication. Sometimes in life, we may feel as though things aren't working out. Now, I often ask the question, how do you like that feeling? They may say good. I may say, I don't really like this feeling. So then my question, depending on whether or not they want to be in that experience or shift it, I'm going to say, well, if you don't like it, why don't you change it? And then that will come across a particular kind of way. But then I will go to asking them how their thinking is. Not the story, because everyone's got stories. But being present in that moment, look at them with presence as well. Because quickly they'll start telling you the story. But look at them with that divine view of wholeness. Speak to them. Speak to yourself with that presence. Because even if you've got judgments of some experience that you've had, can you pull yourself into presence with yourself? How are you looking at yourself? What are you saying? That journey of how did you get here? Who were the players that came into your life to help you be in this moment? Mother's Day is coming up. What do we think about our mothers? Now, I've heard a lot of different stories from people about their mothers. I had my own story about my mother for a really long time. And then, as the story evolves, because maybe your mom's here, maybe your mom's not here. Maybe it's someone else. Maybe it's not a mom. Maybe it's a dad. Maybe it's a cousin. Maybe it's a brother, husband, ex-husband. All these different scenarios of they may or may not still be in the picture. But your understanding, if you continue on the path and don't get stuck up in your thinking saying, this is the only way, this is my reality. But I hope each one of you in here are students at some level. As you continue in your development, the image and story of that individual will continue to change. Or you have the choice, you can lock yourself in. And if, for example, I were to sit and say, my mom is a terrible mom. She just didn't love me. She didn't, give us certain kinds of things. And I can look at my mom with judgment and say, Mom, based off of everything that I know in life, about the endless opportunity out there, that I know that life is always working in magnificent ways, Mom. Like I see it. And you didn't give me all that. I could look at it that way. Or I could say, Mother, thank you for the grace of being exactly who I needed you to be so that I could grow to where I need to be in this moment. And this moment is perfect, so thank you. And then quickly we can go back to the story of, Mom, I can't believe this. Well, you either like one feeling more, which may be the argument of something in the past, or you come to a point of acceptance and say, this moment is all that there is. Now let me see what was that experience there to teach me. And this all ties in with healing, because imagine that you are now faced with an illness, the potential of death, any of that. So you're faced with that experience, but you're carrying tons of weight on your back, and you're like, I'm going to take this on. And from any book on metaphysical healing that we read, what do we understand? What do our emotions do to our health? It can enhance it, or it can hinder it. If my thinking is negative, I wake up in the morning and say, ugh, it's Monday, gross Monday, ugh, that means start of my week. Wednesday, oh, thank goodness it's hump day. I'm just can't wait till this week is over. Thank God it's Friday. Those are the same people that at the end of life say, thank God it's over. Listen, you've got the opportunity to shift all of that with your health. So in the present moment, someone has given you a diagnosis. Now, there are some things that happen to us in life that are not ideal. It does not fit into what we want to have happen to us. We do our dangest to say, what is this here to teach me? So that you're not completely crippled by it. But when you sit with that and you explore that, you will find value in that experience. However, it becomes more challenging when we separate the spiritual side of our life from the physical, because that would be that dualistic thinking. So in health and wholeness, if we claim something as ours, meaning, and I want to be very sensitive as we go through this, because it's very, very important that you don't dismiss the experience that you're having, because wherever you find yourself is the only place you can grow from. You do whatever you can to help make better decisions going forward. But when it comes to anything in the past, even your health conditions you're faced with right now, that is where you are. There is nothing you could change about anything in the past. So even if it's a negative feeling, go and explore that. Say, what was this here to teach me? In every one of your memories, even though sometimes we have bad memories. What do I mean by that? So let's explore that a little bit more. How many of us have heard the expression in teachings that you remember everything that's happened to you in your life, even if the recall can't be there? Let me see a raise of hands. And the reason I want the physiology is because when you are learning and when you're putting into practice, that energy you carry in your body makes a big difference. So if we're thinking I want to be in a good mood, but I'm sitting there cross-armed and I'm just like, things have just been really bad right now. How do you envision my emotions will change when I'm in this position? I'm just like, everything's crappy, just. Or it says, open yourself up. Say, oh, gosh, that feeling sucks. All right. And then I do this one with people, and they don't really like it, but it's this stretch of the victory pose, power poses. You can get on YouTube and look this up. All these things matter. Once again, that you're never separated from spirit. Spirit is in literally everything. Some people will ask me the question, where did God say that from? So if God being this overriding everything, if God is in everything, no separation, no duality, any book you read and any experience you had is an opportunity to learn from a higher vantage point. But it's whether or not you choose to see things like that, plus the language you use with the people around you. If we speak in terms of lack and illness, like, oh, I'm getting old. Oh, God, I'm getting old. I just, I'll step down off chairs now, whereas I used to jump. How are you all? What are you all? No. How are you all? That feels better. So in your physiology, it makes a difference on attitude, the wholeness of it all. Understanding that, are you your body or are you spirit? You are whole. There's no separation. But sometimes we let our physical understanding override that higher understanding. You are what? So being whole, you are never without something. So sometimes it's the pursuit of, I'm working on getting healthy. Unity and affirmations say, what would be the correct way of saying that if you want to be healthy? I am healthy. So it's claiming it as being now. Let's look at how does this apply in other areas? Because is there deeper wholeness? Yes, absolutely. But if we are encumbered by the past, it makes it difficult to move forward with the wholeness that's already present and already there, because we're just dragging things along. So this is my attempt to help you unencumber yourselves a bit so that you can move more freely, plus have things you can look at the world differently with. So let's look at some other areas in which we practice lack of wholeness. Have we ever heard a separation in terms of political vantage points? Those people versus these people. What about churches? Those guys over there versus us over here. You can't be present and practicing separation at the same time. So in that moment, you get the opportunity to choose, where are my thoughts at? Am I practicing wholeness or am I practicing being separate? And every once in a while, depending on what it is that you're doing and what circles you're talking in, sometimes you need to do that. But when it comes to you, and this is your locker room. This is a one-on-one talk. It doesn't matter who's next to you, but if something inspires you, give them an elbow, make sure that they're still awake. But this is your journey. I am not saying anything from a vantage point any differently than you. Jesus, at the same time, was not saying anything from a different vantage point, because he'd just be sitting beside you smiling this entire conversation. And then maybe it's a judgment of self of like, well, if you only knew like what I did when I was young, it was really foolish. And he'd just smile and he'd nod, no judgment. But no, Jesus, you don't understand. Like, let me tell you some of the stuff that I've done. And he just smiles and he nods. But no, you're supposed to be judging me right now. Like, I did some stuff wrong. And he just smiles and nods. Then it's just that gentle reminder that most judgments you hold are judgments against yourself. And you can go back to the Bible. You don't have to believe anything that I'm saying right now. I've never been one much to go to the Bible and need to quote it to quantify these understandings, because these understandings, anything that resonates with you, the reason is because that's who you are. And sometimes through observations and these beautiful teachers in our lives and throughout time have given us teachings that, we wouldn't want to go through. Any of you guys want to be a Hitler in your life? No. Have you all learned something from Hitler? Yeah. Did we all learn a lot about what suffering looks like from that? Yeah. And I hope within the depths of your beingness that as you become more aware of your wholeness, that you use that level of discernment. But as we look at each experience with neutrality, it frees us up emotionally, physically. Our conscious mind is not able to fully understand the depths of our being. It's very responsive to what's in our subconscious minds. Myrtle Fillmore, beautiful, beautiful soul. So many valuable lessons can be extracted from the Fillmores about wholeness, about this remembrance. When she had her tuberculosis and she came into the practice of the science of mind, Christian Science, these different schools of metaphysics, she learned about how to speak to yourself from that place of wholeness, to practice it, to embody it. Each one of you have that same ability, and it's not limited based off of age, because each one of you are still on this journey to remember self, to fully acknowledge yourself, to give yourself appreciation. You have the opportunity each day. You can go home and say, I'm getting old. My body's falling apart. My life is terrible for all these different reasons. You're absolutely welcome to do that, because this is your individualized journey. You cannot find this in any particular book. No matter how many biographies you read, your journey is yours, and it is perfect. For each one of you, I anticipate the greatest things, because when I write your biography, I do not skip over areas and say, she would have, had she had not done this, she wouldn't be this person. Because when you watch biography, and maybe it's a biography of yourself, you got to understand that had any piece of that story not had been there, you would not be the person that the story is about. And then you just say thank you. And I encourage you all to do that as part of your healing process. If you are carrying anything from the past, any perceptions that you are anything but whole, you have to sit with that and remember that you can't be separated from it. So it's not a journey of, I'm trying to go someplace to go find myself, but it's the realization of exactly where you are. When you look at the teachers, you got the Jesus, you got the Buddha, and you've got all these self-actualized people. Each one of them was just encouraging you to move back to that space. With the healing of your body, moving back to that space. So what's that affirmation? You are whole. When are you whole? No. All the time. Language. Watch your language. I'd be good if blank. No, I am good. Practice that. Sit with that. And just know you are good. You are good. You're good. You're always sharp looking, by the way. I just look at you. I'm like, man. But in your journey, that is the most important thing, is to be present and be whole and sit in that space of awareness and give appreciation for what? Anything. Shoes. Toothbrush. And I say toothbrush, I got some looks. I'm like, what do you mean toothbrush? There are people out there in the world who are not blessed with a toothbrush. There are people out there who don't have shoes. And say, I don't want to spoil my kids. Spoiling is very relative. Yesterday with my son, I was like, son, do you know how perfect you are? And I say some weird stuff to my son. I'm like, son, I don't know what most dads talk to their kids about, but let me tell you, son, you are so freaking amazing in so many different ways. Now, my son may have challenges with his grades sometime. And I have a hard time being like, son, based off of something you're not interested in, I know you're not getting a good grade right now, but you need to. I'm like, son, I failed I failed French in middle school. I don't know if that's good parenting or not, but it's like, I'm working on it, guys. So I'm coachable, and if you got suggestions on kids, please let me know. I'm good at the spiritual stuff. So I sit there, and I'm like, son, you're so perfect in so many different ways. And I just go over, and he's playing video games. I'm like, I want to hug. So I just hug him for about 3 minutes. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's it. And then I go back upstairs, and he does his own thing. And I'm just like, how interesting. And then it occurs to me how often people don't get that kind of acknowledgement in life. Even as adults, I watch people all the time, and they embody sadness. They embody lack and limitation. And you just see them. They're not happy in that situation. But the reality is maybe no one's ever shared with them that joy of being present. And that's a gift that all of you have if you got even a small remote amount. Like Fred, oh my gosh, that guy's enthusiasm. I'm like, I feel like I'm happy sometimes, but other times I'm like, Fred is like the Rocky trainer of the century. He came out to my house and he's like, Roy, let me coach you. I'm just like doing push-ups. I'm like, Fred, I got this. I'll do better next time. So in your journey, just know that you're in that place of absolute wholeness. Unity is a beautiful place, and really understanding the different spiritual teachers, because so many of them just wanted to demonstrate being fully present and fully whole. However, because through time, those teachings kind of got lost because the essence of the teaching got trapped in religion, and then that religion throughout time, then I made the teachers more of like the unattainable things. But each one of these, as you read their journeys, especially Christianity being this amazing teacher, and the Bible being this amazing reference book to sit with and be like, oh, what is it saying? I encourage you each to go and read the red letter Bibles with the understanding I just shared with you. You will see something in it that perhaps you have missed before, because it's never a matter of separation from your wholeness. You're in it right now. Jesus, let me tell you what kind of stud he was. He could just walk because of his level of awareness and his presence, and people would suddenly begin to shift their own consciousness because he would just walk into a room, and that was the essence of his being. Even whenever you're looking at like a Buddha, for example, same thing. Like these guys reached a certain level of awareness, and their presence alone was enough to help teach people. And I'm sure that they had their direct followers who were able to reach that level of awareness, but now it's more of there's a man who lived 2,000 years ago, got hung on a cross, died for you, and if you live a good life, you can move towards that. I believe very strongly that each one of these teachers would come and say, all right, let's go on this walk together and walk, and then that remembrance comes. And then as you step into that space, the wholeness of your beingness begins to emerge, because you're not separate from it. As deep as the story is, it's just relaxing into it and saying everything in my life was here to teach me to be in this moment, because this is the only place that I can be. And in this moment, so thank you all for allowing me just to share some thoughts with you all today. And remember, this is just a journey of you, and I'm simply here to remind you of some things you already know. So thank you all very much for the opportunity to share with you. Close your eyes or relax your gaze as we come into this moment of meditation. Breathe in. And as you breathe in, say to yourself, I am whole. And as you exhale, Release anything that causes tension in your life or in your thoughts. Any arguments, any challenges, and release. Breathe in, say, I'm whole. Breathe out. Anything keeping you from that awareness. And keep saying, I'm whole, to any thought that arises as you're in this moment. Slowly bring your awareness back to this moment. And remember, as you go through your week, anytime something arises that challenges you, say to yourself, I am whole. We now come to that special time in service where we take our tithes and our offerings in our hands and recite this with me. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive. And so it is. Children, good morning. Did we learn something valuable in class today? Yeah? Do you want to say what you learned?
We made positive affirmations.
Ooh, affirmations are awesome. We said one in here too. What did we learn today? What affirmation did you guys take away that you really enjoyed? Can you say one of them?
You pop.
You pop. That's awesome. Anyone else want to say another one? What do you got?
Toilet papers.
That's awesome. Another one?
You rule the world.
Ooh. All right. Any of you other children want to say it? That's all right. Here's one more for you. You are all awesome. And you are all awesome. We will now conclude our service with the peace song and the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.